To defeat an enemy, you must know them. Not just their battle tactics, but their history, philosophy, art. Welcome to the Chiss Ascendancy podcast.
Alrighty then. Hello everyone and welcome back to
The Chiss Ascendancy.
episode number
44.
44, yeah? Episode 44. Today we're talking about the voices of Star Wars. I love that we get to cut to the nitty gritty because the Mando episodes are coming out. Before we go any further, we want to say thank you for tuning in. If you are watching on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel, like this video, share this video, hit the notification bell so that you get updates when we put out new things, and share it with your friends. If you listen on Apple Podcasts, please leave us a review and we will read it on the air. So far, nothing new since October. But that's okay. Just that helps the channel grow. So we'd appreciate if you did that. Today we're talking about the voices of Star Wars. So we've done some pretty serious things here recently, and every Mandalorian episode is so serious. And so we are kind of jumping into something a little bit more fun and silly. One of our listeners actually thought this would be a cool idea, and so we're going for it. What was that?
I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out what to do with my arms.
Is this a new shirt?
No, I've had it for quite a while. I just don't wear it very much.
Oh, looks cool.
Thank you.
So, the voices of Star Wars, we've compiled, count them, 55.
55 of our most favorite voices. And by the way, we
55!
know that this is a list that we're pretty married to because we wanted to make it 50, and then we just couldn't figure out a way to make that work.
Yeah, so we added 5. We probably could have kept going, honestly. We could have just kept going and going and going. So I'm sure there might be someone that we miss. I just thought of one, but we'll go for it. All right?
I'll just say we don't have Princess Leia and we don't have Rey.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, they're not necessarily iconic voices. They're iconic characters for sure.
Yeah.
I would say that there's... Some of them are not even necessarily dialogue, but it's a voice that we like.
It's a voice to somebody.
I would like to give you a shout out really quick, Finn from North Carolina. This one's for you. Nia Num did not make the list, but I know that he is one of your faves. And because some of our faves are on there, the list had to stop at 55 or we would have kept going. And then something crazy would have happened. Okay. All right, so here's what we're gonna do. Okay, we're gonna name you the character, talk a little bit about their voice, nothing crazy. This is more of a fun episode.
We've got 55, so please, we're just gonna fly through these bad boys.
Probably gonna fly through them. We might talk a little bit about some of the more important ones. Should have opened up this drink before we started. We're just gonna go for it, and then go for it from there. We might talk a little bit about the character, might not, and then if we have. On the soundboard, if we have something from them that we've got going, we'll play that. Yeah. But regardless, every person, we have agreed, one of us has to do an impersonation of that character. So that's going to be the fun part.
It's going to be bad.
Okay, we'll start with number 1. Now, the first handful are because they're some of the greatest. These aren't necessarily in a ranking order, but this number 1 is number 1 voice in all of Star Wars. Darth Vader.
Yeah, we got the... This isn't really his voice, but I think this is the most iconic part about Vader is the... I can't even tell you how many books or comics that it's described as like they walk or they're standing somewhere and they just hear Vader breathing behind them.
Right. Yeah, they talk about in a certain point of view how intimidating that is.
Yeah.
Which we're trudging through. Some really good stories, some okay stories. We'll talk about that later.
I made it through Rendezvous Point today.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
That was a good one.
It was good. I think that it might be my new favorite.
But, oh, really?
But Hunger is probably still my favorite.
Hunger. Yeah, well, it's a Wampa being read by Sam Witwer, so you really can't beat that.
It's kind of hard to beat.
Veers was also really good.
Veers was good. Anyway, we'll talk about
So
that.
Vader's fun, and you got a good Vader impersonation?
No.
No?
Well, I mean, everybody can like cup their mouth and breathe.
What's your favorite Vader line?
I got a good one here.
Okay.
All right, let me I say that, and then I thought about getting like my my old keyboard out just because it'd be a bit easier, but
The little MIDI.
here we go.
All too easy.
That one's good.
That's a good one.
Another classic is the surprised Vader. One of my favorites.
Oh yeah, I don't have that one queued up. I don't know why.
What? One of my favorite ones. I think
Let
now.
me see if I can shoot it from the hip.
Okay. While you're getting that, one of my
There's a good
favorites.
chance this is not it, but. What? Oh, nailed
There
it.
it was. Good job. That's probably my favorite.
By the way, there are like 80-something sound bits for me to accurately guess that. I'm very proud of myself.
Good job. One of my favorites is I just love that he's on a man on a mission, and so when they're talking about the asteroid field, and he goes, "Asteroids do not concern me, Admiral." That's one of my
Yeah,
favorites.
he could not be less concerned.
Yeah. Okay. Number 2. One of my top 3 characters of all time, Mr. Kylo Ren.
I'm sure you are.
Yeah.
Him talking about himself being your favorite character.
Yeah. Hey, Kylo. I just gotta say I'm a big fan.
Sorry.
I'm sure you are.
See what we did there?
Yeah.
Okay. Do your best. Go ahead and do your best.
There's
Kylo.
no way for me to do that without being loud.
Okay.
Here's another one. Though.
Oh. You want to stand in the corner and do your Kylo impression?
It's gonna be so loud. I remember somebody, one of my friends on Xbox wanted me to do an impression of it, and I just like full send yelled into the mic, so everybody on Xbox got that.
That's funny.
Blow that piece of junk out of the sky!
Kylo is all of our spirit animals. It's funny because somebody was interviewing Adam Driver, and they were like, "So what do you have to think of? What's the deep method acting you have to do to get to that anger?" And he goes, "I think about taxes and traffic, and I'm there." So that was funny. One of the chiller lines that also is very powerful that I don't think we ever really explored to the place that we should have.
Dad?
Don't even get me started. Was whenever they're like, they were accompanied by a girl, and he goes, "What girl?" That was one of my favorites.
There you go. Nice.
There you go. Okay, this is probably this is for sure the voice that you hear the most if you lived in Star Wars. It's Temuera Morrison
or
D. Bradley Baker or
As you wish. Lord Vader.
yes, very true. That's a little bit different because that's the classic As You Wish.
Yeah, it was also difficult for me to get that sound bit without also featuring Vader breathing. So
Yeah.
As you wish.
But not the most iconic because that's Vader, but probably the voice that you hear the most throughout Star Wars as far as dialogue, especially if you lived in the prequel era, is Temuera Morrison, Jango Fett / Boba Fett / every clone trooper.
Yeah.
A million more well on the way.
200 units ready? 200,000 units ready?
Yep.
200 units were ready.
That's true. That's also accurate.
Less than 200,000.
So yeah.
Come at me.
Yeah, Temuera Morrison, and then obviously D. Bradley Baker played them as well. But Rex, Fives, Cody, all of them. All of the clones. The ones you like, the ones you don't like. The ones that are... I like... there's one really cool clip from the making of the Clone Wars where D. Bradley Baker shows how, in his mind, he creates a variety.
Yeah, I think it's cool how he gets in the headspace of the
Yeah,
clone.
he's like, "You've got the guy. He's been in the lines for a while. I'm kind of getting a little bit more Australian there, but then he's like, then you have a guy that's more of an officer. He's very brisk, and he's gonna make sure that he's minding his business. It's very cool, like getting into different headspaces.
I like watching voice acting.
Oh, dude, it's
I feel
fantastic.
like it's very underrated.
But yeah, and the original As You Wish is not the same voice, but technically it is the same voice because
It is, and
it's a
it
clone
isn't.
of a clone. Okay, here's an interesting one that is kind of out of the blue, but this is my buddy Christian's, one of his favorites, is specifically Helmet On, Enfys Nest. Very, very cool character
If
from
I tried
Solo.
to do an impression of Infosnez's voice with the helmet off, it would just come across as very condescending.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But I think one of the coolest lines from Infus Nest is when they're on Vandor and they are doing the train heist, and they can tell that Beckett and Solo and those guys are holding their own, and Infus really needs this coaxium. And on the speeder, she goes, "Enough! I'm going in," or whatever, and she and goes in. So that was super cool. But with the helmet on, one of the coolest design. I love the more native feel of it. It's like the opposite of Imperial armor. So Infus Nest is a very, very cool character. I would like to see her again, or it would be cool to get a Disney Plus.
Oh,
What?
I just thought about somebody else who I'd like to see again, but I'd rather see more than her.
From
He didn't make the list.
That's okay. Go ahead.
Hey!
Oh yeah, Babu Frick.
Babu Frig. Get Babu Fricked.
Oh, he would be cool. Okay, a couple of good ones coming in. So obviously I already did my Infus Nest. Enough. It's kind of hard to do. Number 5 on the list, we have Han Solo.
Here we go.
And so Han Solo he's got the best excited, yahoo!
I don't have that one ready, but I do have this one ready.
Oh,
Never tell me the odds.
yeah. He's the most smart aleck character in Star Wars, and with good reason.
And apparently the most behated character in all of Empire.
Yep. Anybody
you're a
from the
nerd.
first 10 or 15 stories from a certain point of view is like, and then here comes this guy, Han Solo, thinks he can walk in, become a captain. And I was like, he's pretty important.
I don't have a good Harrison Ford, but I do have a good
Mark Thompson
as
Harrison Ford.
As Harrison Ford. And
All right.
one of the most iconic
I want
lines.
at least 3 lines because I know you're going to say the one I'm thinking of. Go ahead.
There's only really one worth mentioning, and it's this one. Hey, kid. Obviously referring to Luke.
Yeah.
If I go any further, it's going to turn into me doing the impression of that one guy from Hellboy.
Yeah. The boss, the FBI guy.
doing?
You don't light a cigar like that.
Han Solo is, yahoo!
Yahoo!
Over my dead body is a cool one from A New Hope. What's another one? I really like how much attitude he has with Jabba the Hutt in A New Hope. When he's still on his good side, so he can be spunky.
I like how much attitude he has with C-3PO and Jedi.
Yeah.
I think one of my favorite moments in Jedi is when he's telling C-3PO how to negotiate. He's like, get our weapons back.
Oh yeah. He
Hurry up,
taps
we don't
on.
have all day.
Yeah. I like it when he goes, Jabba, next time, and he steps on his tail, and he goes, come talk to me yourself. Don't send one of these twerps. And I was like, yeah, you tell him. But then Boba Fett comes into frame, and I was like, he's not a twerp. But I love when he goes, Jabba, you're a wonderful human being. That's my Han Solo. It's not that good. Okay, number 6, Chewbacca.
Oh, I gotta give one of these. But before we do that, we gotta...
Okay. Yeah. Chewbacca has the most iconic non-human voice.
Yeah, for sure.
I would say. And that's one of the things that if you go down the street and you go, what does Darth Vader sound like? Even somebody who hasn't seen Star Wars can go, some variation of the ventilator.
Yeah.
And anybody, I'm sure that the talent level is not going to be very high, but anybody can make a,
I think one of my all-time favorite pranks was they took somebody's phone number and they put it on flyers all over a campus, and they said that there was a Chewbacca impression contest going on, and to call this phone number and leave a voicemail with your best Chewbacca impression. So they just had hundreds of voicemails of people.
Imagine you're in class and you just have your phone on silent, or I have that thing where if it's a spam call, just send it to voicemail. So
Yeah.
if it's a good voicemail, then my bad, I'll call you back. But if it's like some kind of stupid call list, I don't have to answer it.
Yeah.
So you leave class and you don't even know it, and there's 50. What's your favorite Chewbacca sound?
Maybe the one when he's distraught in Empire.
Yes. Whenever he's worried about Han, he's like, yeah, that's my favorite too. Okay, number 7, we're flying through these. Tusken Raider.
Got one of these ready. Here we go.
Yep. I like the really desperate at the end of that one. Hey guys, good guys! Here comes Crazy Man! Guys!
Luke, there's Sparrow at the airport. We're gonna stop and get Sparrow.
Luke? What if they're saying, guys, come on, we can get out here and get Sparrow. Guys! I love the magic of George Lucas when they're in editing and they just had a guy do this and they're like, no, not aggressive enough. So it's like, rewind, fast forward. So if you watch A New Hope, it's like the first, like, whatever you call those, boomerangs.
Nice.
Is the Tusken Raider. I did love at the very, very end of Chapter 9 of The Mandalorian, the Marshal, when they find that crate pearl and they're like, they're like super charged up. So I love that.
They were pretty wild about it.
Yeah, Tuskens are awesome. One of the first non-human sounds we hear in Star Wars, Jawas and Tuskens. That's why they're some of my favorites. Okay, here's a really, really cool one, especially if you were in middle school in 2005 like I was. General Grievous, one of the coolest voices in Star Wars. And I love...
Let me contract TB and I'll do a really great impression.
Yeah. I love that if you don't know this, but if you watch Revenge of the Sith, you'll notice that General Grievous kind of has a cough.
I tried to tell somebody this story and they thought I was making it up.
No, it's real.
Yeah, I know. That's what I told them.
During the filming of Revenge of the Sith, George Lucas had tuberculosis. And so he was...
I'm sorry. Do you mean to say different disease like bronchitis?
What'd I say?
Tuberculosis?
Isn't that something in the throat?
That's what Doc Holliday died of.
Well, George Lucas is stronger than Doc Holliday. What do you say?
I don't think there's a cure for TB, bro. I'm pretty sure.
It's called billions of dollars. You ever heard of Magic Johnson?
I'm pretty sure he had bronchitis.
Yeah, I think it is bronchitis now that we said it. You said TB, so I said tuberculosis.
Yeah, TB is tuberculosis, but I was making a joke about being deathly ill and having a cough.
Well, he did have something pretty serious. Maybe it was bronchitis now that you say that. But anyways, he was really sick. And he had this crazy cough on set. And of course,
Make me think I'm mighty sick.
Yeah. Ben Burtt, the sound, guru, was like, so George was like, and Ben's like, good. And so they recorded George Lucas's cough. And so when you first hear Grievous come on scene, he's like, it's actually George Lucas coughing up a lung from being sick on set. So...
What a committed individual.
What a committed guy. I'm dying, but this is Revenge of the Sith, and I'm not giving up. Last Star Wars ever.
So we thought.
It was at the time. General Grievous has a great one. And if you're a super fan, the in-universe reason for him having that cough is because Mace Windu gave him the once-for.
The once.
The once-for. I'm so tired, bro.
The what force?
Gave him the once-over force. I meant to say what for and once over and came out. So when Grievous is stealing Palpatine and going to take him up to his flagship above Coruscant.
Sorry. You said up to his flagship and I was thinking like, I don't know what I was thinking, but mine went straight to England and you're like, take him up to his flat? And I was like, they going on a date?
I like to pause there. So he takes him up to the flagship, and right as he's getting ready to leave, and Palpatine's already been taken into the shuttle, Mace Windu comes around the corner, and of course, Grievous does his best General Kenobi impression with the 4 lightsabers, and Mace Windu is like...
Not impressed.
And does a little crunchy crunch, and...
crunches his lung.
Yeah, and he collapses right there. Okay, I've been doing a bunch of these. Give me your best General Grievous impression. You have to try 100%. Okay.
Was that pretty good?
Cheap shot, but yeah, go ahead. All right. Number 9, Obi-Wan Kenobi.
I got a really iconic one.
Hello there.
Hello there.
That's probably the most famous line I can think of.
Yes, and then also it's very beautiful because you get to also have the Alec Guinness Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah, which would have been...
Well, of course I know him. He's me.
He's me.
I
feel like
love
I got
that.
a pretty good Alec Guinness.
Yeah, pretty good. Go ahead.
Of course I know it. He's me.
You sent a funny meme earlier where it's like, you knew my father? He's like, I didn't slay him. I nearly cut his arms and legs off.
He said, you knew my father? He goes, slew him. I only cut off his arms and legs. What?
Yeah. Obi-Wan, run, Luke, run. That was cool. I imagine if that was a real scenario and hear the voice of Ben, he would have been like, huh?
What? And Alec Guinness was like, what? And then Darth Vader was like, what?
Good job. Obi-Wan Kenobi, a very normal voice, a very human voice, but iconic nonetheless.
Yeah.
Specifically from Ewan McGregor.
Oh, yeah. Ewan is Obi-Wan. And what's cool about Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan is he's one of the very few Star Wars characters that was one of the larger characters that didn't later regret having that role.
Talking about Ewan?
Yeah. And he does it to the max. Like, I remember I was watching Long Way Round, and he stopped at, like, a hospital in Russia and did, like, a promotion as Obi-Wan to help, like, fundraising or something like that. It was very cool.
Yeah.
Super cool guy.
I love Ewan because he has such a big heart. He really cares about people, and that's really cool.
When it's like he was on something that was this big trip, I mean, it was obviously a project,
right?
But he still went out of his way to do something charitable for someone else. That's super freaking cool.
Exactly. Okay. Next, you have probably the second most iconic voice in Star Wars, Yoda.
Yeah.
Voiced by Frank Oz. What's your favorite Yoda quote? Concentrate! Yeah. Oh, man. That's the funniest one.
That one's hard to beat. The other one I quote the most is, rest.
I need rest. My favorite Yoda quote is when he...
I'll legit quote that to myself while I'm going to sleep.
Right.
Nobody else in the room. I live alone, basically.
I need rest.
Rest.
I love when he says, the Force surrounds us, binds us. Luminous beings are we, not this crude matter. Man, gets me every time. One time I was watching Empire with my wife, and we were watching, and he was like, the Force. Because, like, the freaking Yoda's theme comes in. You're on freaking Dagobah, and so, like, the mist is flowing across the waters, and he's looking out across, and Yoda's been living there by himself for, like, 25 years at this point. Something like that.
I mean, kind of.
But it's still lonely.
Yeah, I mean.
But he's sitting there.
If you're not in touch with the Force.
Yeah, but I think that, even when Luke got there, he was like, I thought it was going to be Leia, just that kind of thing. Still, like, you can tell that he still thinks about the failure of the Jedi a lot. 900 years old.
There's not much else to think about at this point.
Right. And so it's just really beautiful because
Do you think he celebrated his 900th birthday on Dagobah?
I think he probably was like, probably trying to ignore the 900, kind of like we do when we get older.
Do you think he blew out 900 candles?
No way. No freaking way. You just look up and his hut at the beginning of Empire is just like covered in slag from just
is your hut on fire?
From Clark Griswold.
From freaking National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
But he's looking out over the waters. It's just a beautiful moment where, obviously, as I'm a pastor, and so as someone who has, a relationship with God, who has faith, it's cool that he's like still keeping the faith after all that time. So anyways, Yoda's very cool. All right, this one's kind of niche, but it's super iconic for us Star Wars guys.
Yeah.
Number 11, we have the Hammerhead Jedi from the original Clone Wars. And the reason it's so cool is because when Grievous is trying to get Palpatine and take him up to his flagship of Coruscant again, they're kind of running out of options, and they're overwhelming this small group of Jedi that are supposed to protect the Chancellor. And so the Ithorian Jedi, Fal Mudama, I believe is his name.
Yep, that's it.
Is it?
I don't know.
Look it up. I'll bet you I'm right. Fal Mudama.
Well, I will.
But we
have
find
a fun
out
fact for the listeners once you're finished with this story.
What the heck is this, man?
What are you doing?
Oh, it must have been your dadgum. You sent me a TikTok earlier, and it went to the next one.
Oh.
TikTok sucks.
The one I sent you is pretty funny, though.
It was.
What's funny is I don't even have TikTok. I just
Dang,
have
I
people
was
that
wrong.
send me TikToks.
Fal Mudama was the towels.
I knew you were
Just
wrong.
quit the podcast at this point. What's your fun fact while I look it up?
The thing that you're going to talk about is how they kind of talk out of their throat. And in that Clone Wars rendition, you see him kind of use the Force to amplify the frequency of the sound and basically cripple everyone around him. That was first thought of by Drew Karpyshyn.
Oh, really?
In Rule of Two.
What year did Rule of 2 come out?
It was before that, but there's an Ithorian Jedi that is he does battle meditation. That's his strength.
Roran Korob. is the character's name. But yeah, this is really cool because they have 4 throats, and so he basically uses it like the sonic sound gun that they try to attack the Incredible Hulk with in the movie The Incredible Hulk.
Oh, maybe it's after. It's from 2007.
Yeah, 2003 would have been this series.
Still.
But still very cool.
It's in Rule of 2.
I guess I can try to do an impression of that, but I don't have holes in my throat to make a sound. But it's something like... But
imagine... You just pooped your pants. Like, excuse me. Gotta go.
But imagine...
My farts are long. And way louder than that. And they reek. Is that the joke?
I think you would know if I farted, Jane, you'd throw up your pretty little lunch. Okay. So... Excuse me. But imagine that with 4 throats that are on the side of my neck.
That was a twofer. You got an Ithorian and a Genogrievous.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Number 12. Sheev Palpatine. Huh?
Do it.
There you go. Number 12. Sheev Palpatine. Specifically...
Do it.
As Palpatine.
As Darth Sidious. So, not just Palpatine's voice like, oh, well, very good. But, once more, the Sith will rule the galaxy.
Or like this.
What's your favorite Sheev line?
Most quoted line for sure is because there's just a lot of times I've done something, I'm just satisfied, for a little while, or I'm at the end of a long day and I take my shoes off and sit in my comfy chair from the Bass Pro Shop and I go
The work of his hands is at the end of every episode that we put out.
Yeah.
Space base. I would say that one of my favorite lines is when he says, "You want this,
don't you?
Don't you?
Don't you?"
Very good. I would say that one of the best lines from him from The Rise of Skywalker, whether you like it or not, don't care, is when he says, "Look what you have made." That's one of the coolest lines.
Yeah.
And his robes are like a sexy red, like a deep red. And he's
Dude,
like,
he for sure did a wardrobe change, right?
Right? He was like wearing like rags, and after that he was like, "And I'm ready for a party."
Out of date!
What?
When the Grinch is trying to find
Grinch?
Ugly, stupid, out of date!
What would I wear? Okay. There it is. All right. Get this one ready. This is at the beginning of every episode as well.
True.
But the grandest of admirals, Thrawn Yorudo, which is
Perhaps.
Thrawn.
Yep.
To defeat an enemy, you must know them.
Perhaps.
Now he's arguing with himself.
Also, it was very cool because in the original Heir to the Empire trilogy, also read by Mark Thompson,
Marky Mac.
the book Heir to the Empire describes Thrawn as having a cat-like, gravelly voice. So in the first version, he's like, "Come in, Captain." It's still got the smoothness to it, but it's a little richer, definitely deeper.
It's Thrawn, but he's holding a glass of cognac and he's smug about it.
Yeah, exactly. It's Ron Swanson Thrin.
Ron
Thronson.
Swanson.
Ron Thronson, which is close to his real name.
Ron Eurodo.
Yeah.
Emphasis on the Ron.
But, yeah. Is the new one growing on you? Which do you prefer at this point? I know at first we were like, no, that's not what he sounds like.
No.
Yeah.
I think I'm team new Thrawn voice now.
Are you?
I've just listened to so much more content. 5 books now.
Mm-hmm. And when he's...
Or 4 books.
When he's speaking...
Gonna be 5 soon.
How many are there?
There's 3 in the new trilogy and then the Chaos
Ascendancy.
Rising.
Dude, I heard rumor, just rumor, that they were possibly going to re-record Heir to the Empire trilogy. That would be sick.
That would be cool.
Okay, do you have a favorite Thrawn
There's only the
quote?
one.
Perhaps?
Yeah.
That's your only favorite?
Is that another one?
Yeah.
He just says it so much. I think another one that I quote a lot, but it's obviously at this point from the old trilogy, but so artfully done.
Yeah, that was a really good one. Okay, number 14. Ho, 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 ho. Not Santa Claus. Jabba the Hutt.
4 hoes.
Yeah, so Jabba the Hutt,
Well,
obviously...
knowing Jabba a lot more than 4.
Oh, here we go. Okay. Jeez, here we go.
He was just steeped
He
in lady companions.
He was. Jabba the Hutt is the most iconic black market criminal in Star Wars history, the greatest crime lord of Star Wars time, and so yeah, he's one of the greatest, and it still sends a little shiver down my spine when I think that Han and Leia are going to get out of the palace, and I just hear, ho, 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 ho. It just really ticks me off. But yeah, Jabba the Hutt is fantastic.
Yeah.
And you know his voice immediately.
Outsmart Jabba. Sorry, I'm just adjusting my things here.
And I like whenever he says, Han, my bookie, which is Han, my boy, in Huttese. Very cool. All right. Number 15. This is how we end every review of The Mandalorian. Dude, what a cool word. Imagine being at the writing table and being like, okay, so we need like kind of like a party chant, you know, like a fraternity, but for Jawas. And somebody there was like, what about Suka? You know what I mean? Like, all these crazy sounds started somewhere where they're like, I don't know, what about it? Suka, Suka. And someone was like, yeah, that'll do. What if they eat, what's the prize? Is it a diamond? No. Imagine a Cadbury egg the size of your chest, but with fur on it. Real gross, but they love it. I don't know, just Star Wars writing is fun. The Jawas, Utini. Is that the first non-English species that we hear? By English, I mean speaking English?
I guess so.
I think so.
In canon, yeah.
Yeah. In A New Hope.
R2.
Yeah, that counts, I guess. So the Jawas. Number 16, The Mandalorian, also known as Din Djarin. And obviously we're talking about with the helmet on.
Yeah. Really, it's nothing special except for just the voice modular.
Right, yeah, for sure. But I did love when you watch the recap from the beginning
pilot.
Of the beginning of chapter 12.
I missed that Mando.
Yeah, he softened up really quick on us once he found Baby Yoda, or the child, excuse me. But that first episode when he walks in, he goes, "I can bring you in warm, or I can bring you in cold," and he's just tapping his little freaking blaster. That was sick. So the Mandalorian is great.
Mando's great.
Yep. And then number 17, one of my personal favorites.
He was one of my favorites for a long time as well. I mean, he's still up on my list, but
go ahead.
He's been a little displaced. Pretty good.
Please do that again.
I can't. It was a one-off. I don't think I could ever match it.
If you haven't guessed, it's Bosk.
It's Bosk, guys.
You were so delighted.
It's hard to sound like Toes, but I did my best.
Like toes?
You just use little toes.
Dude, Bosk is the kind of guy that's looking to get in a fight. He's like, I'm gonna
got a problem with Boba.
Yeah.
And me.
Good job. That was really good. You're impressing me.
Thank you.
Yeah. Bosk is super cool, and you get more and more of him in the Clone Wars. And
sorry, if you're just watching the audio version, I had a stupid grin and looked right at the camera. Proud of myself.
I would love to, man, if somehow Bosk made it into The Mandalorian. As of last week, we're getting really big picture.
It would be cool if they did something similar with what they did for Maul in Season 7 of the Clone Wars. And they had somebody do like the mocap or, wear the bodysuit, but the voiceover, they actually still had D. Bradley Baker do it.
Oh, yeah. Which you could totally do because he has a mask on.
Right. You can make it work.
Because he cares about other people's health.
Mm-hmm.
I do, Bosk is amazing. What a cool character. He's one of those characters similar to Boba or Maul where it's like a really cool concept and they expanded on it.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and I think he was already cool in the original stuff and then it was interesting how they reshaped his and Boba's history.
I was just about to
in the
say,
Clone Wars.
growing up, one of my first Star Wars experiences outside of the movies was the Bounty Hunter War trilogy, and him and Boba hated each other.
By the way, if you have not read the audio version of that trilogy, I highly recommend it.
The audiobooks from
It's just like a fan.
the Bounty Hunter Wars,
Yeah.
they're pretty good. I love how the guy that
We're
reads
just
it...
bring this up a sample real quick. I'll entertain the fans.
Okay, go ahead.
So, there's 2 muffins in an oven. No,
Oh, here we
I'm not
go.
gonna tell that
Wow.
joke. I'm not gonna tell that joke. It is not inappropriate. I'm tired of it. I thought I had more off the top of my head. Give me something to talk about.
You can just talk about Bosk.
So we'll talk about Bosk. When I was a kid, growing up, I had lizards. I had pet lizards. And so, I don't know, I was just like really into reptiles. Reptile. And so when I saw Bosk, naturally, I aligned with my affinity for the reptiles. Grew out of that because I had the terrarium in my room and I had to feed the lizards crickets because that's what they ate. And the crickets that escaped lived on in my night. And they would just cricket the night away.
Okay, so before they really started putting out like full-length, unabridged audiobooks for Star Wars, every Star Wars book was condensed into like 3 hours. So the story was just flying. I went ahead and just went into the middle of the middle book just to see what we would get.
Good.
This one is called Slave Ship by K.W. Jeter. The cover is very, very cool. It's got Prince Caesar in the background, then
Cut to
Bosk,
the chase.
and then Boba Fett. So I'm going to try to, obviously I got to navigate and just try to find some Bosk in here. But you just want to hear how the book sounds overall?
Yeah,
Okay.
I just want the fans to
I
know.
think it's higher quality than you remember.
Phew. Basant gave a derisive snort. What can you do for me? I can tell you just how those bounty hunters out there are going to make their moves before they happen. I didn't spend all that time in the old Bounty Hunters Guild without learning all the tricks of the trade. And I know all those bards. I know their minds work.
Dang, I don't remember the sound effects in it.
I see.
That's pretty good.
Basant looked at him with distaste. And that's what you're planning on selling to me, your expertise on
All right,
bounty
well, I
hunters.
stand by my earlier statement minus the sarcastic tone. Apparently they did a good job.
They did a good job. But I do love that. So in that series, Boba Fett and Bosk hate each other. And Boba's just constantly one-upping Bosk.
I think I just remember the Bosk voice is what really stuck with me.
Yeah, you're gonna do a good job.
It was the overt hissing I think that really sent me over the
But
edge.
yeah, I think, is D. Bradley Baker that does Bosk in Clone Wars.
I am fairly certain.
And he does a fantastic job. I do love that line. You got a problem with Boba. You got a problem with me. Yeah. Very cool. And then there's a really cool line from Star Wars Battlefront where if you're playing as the villains and you're Boba Fett and you walk up to Bosk, he'll say something like, just like the old days. And Bosk says, together we were death. Which is super sick.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Pretty nerdy today. All right. Number 18.
Probably one of the coolest voices that we have on the list, honestly. It's a nice hat.
It's a nice hat. Mr. Cad Bane. The greatest bounty hunter in the galaxy. Before Boba Fett.
Nice hat.
Yeah, he's
nice
just,
hat.
he's very, very cool. He is kind of the Western character before they really went all out Western with The Mandalorian. And according to unfinished Clone Wars episodes, he's dead by this time. But if they decided not to use that, obviously it hasn't been aired, didn't come out when Clone Wars Season 7 came out, if he was still alive, this would be right up his Western alley.
Yeah, that would be very cool.
He has the huge wide brim hat. He's a Duro, so he's got cool blue skin, big old red eyes.
Yeah, cool species.
Yeah, and there's an episode of Clone Wars where he looks at an Ithorian, ironically, and he goes, "Where'd you get that hat?" And the guy is instantly nervous because Cad Bane's like a loose cannon.
Yeah.
And he goes to reach for his gun or say anything at all, and Cad Bane shoots him and then throws his littler hat on the ground and picks and catches the big hat midair and puts it on, and everybody's like, look at him like, whoa. And he goes, "What? It was a nice hat." So that was pretty fun.
Yeah, had a thing for hats, that guy.
Yeah, as do we all.
Yeah, I'm wearing a hat right now.
You are. All right, I'm going to give you this next one, even though I want to do this one. Number 19, we have Kuil.
Who is
the Ugnaught.
Yeah, voiced by Nick Nolte. So
Nick Nolte.
you just gotta have a Nick Nolte impression.
Yeah.
My best Nick Nolte impression actually comes from the movie Warrior.
Yep.
And his son's name's Tommy, who is played by Tom Hardy. Mm-hmm. And in that movie, you hear Nick Nolte a number of times go, Tommy. Tommy.
He does seem to have the shakes the whole movie.
Yeah, he does.
There's a really sad...
I don't think he says the word T.
Tommy. There's a really sad moment of that movie where he relapses and he's... The whole movie he's listening to Moby Dick on audio cassette. And it's just like a weird twitch that he has. He's constantly listening to that if he's not doing something else. And you realize that that is his coping mechanism for how to live right. Because he saw himself as Captain Ahab killing his shipmates to get to Moby Dick the whale.
Yeah,
and
pretty deep stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty deep. And there's this moment where he has that relapse and he's screaming at the audio cassette, "Stop the ship! Stop the ship!" So, if I ever have to try out for anything, that's what I'm going to do.
And for the audition, I'll be doing Nick Nolte's monologue in Warrior.
Yeah. And then just start screaming at myself. You got 2 Oreos I can put over my head, my
Saliva
ears?
and urine everywhere.
Yeah. But as Kuil, he's much more reserved and refined.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'm blanking out here.
You want me to go
Put
for
me
it?
on the spot.
I'll show you how you can earn one's freedoms with the work of one's hands.
That was really good. I love that we have to get into a headspace of like a facial expression.
Yeah, and I know my face is Michael J. Fox over here.
Oh my god.
What? Everybody was thinking it.
I am
Family Guy makes those jokes for a decade, and suddenly I'm on a cross.
somewhat like a mouse. I am somewhat like...
Oh dear. Anyway, moving on.
Dude, I've heard that if he has to do a commercial nowadays, he just sleeps for like 2 days before, and he's just wrecked after whatever the commercial is, which is kind of sad. But okay,
God bless him. I love everything he does.
I'm gonna let you do this next one as well, because this is one of your favorite characters.
Yeah, and then you can. Have
I would like to have a little bit of a give me a little backstory on why he's one of your favorites.
So, I'll just go and say his name, DJ. He's my favorite new character. Khaled. I had to explain to Dad who DJ Khaled was because he made an appearance on a insurance commercial, and Dad's like, "Who the heck is this guy?"
Dude, how funny is that if you were not in the know?
Yeah.
You're like, what's this huge Persian guy got to do with anything?
Why does he keep telling him another one? Who's Lee? Got an ATM in that Tulsa library? You okay over there, Grievous?
Sorry. That was terrible, Grievous. Go ahead.
Anyway, in The Last Jedi, he's my favorite new character. When there's a handful of new characters in there, but I feel like the competition isn't super steep, personally. But I like DJ because
You didn't like the broom kid at the end? He's the next Skywalker. Man, the rumors about that kid were ridiculous.
Yeah, that was pretty stupid.
Go
Anyway,
ahead.
I don't know. Everybody's just so self-righteous in that whole film, and I just liked that there was somebody who was willing to admit that he was wrong. Same thing with Iron Man versus Captain America in Civil War. Mm-hmm. You know, I just was so Team Iron Man because he was willing to even consider that he was wrong, and Cap was just so unwilling to even contemplate the fact that he might be in the wrong.
Yeah.
So I liked that after he had double-crossed the Resistance and he's got his reward, and they're like, "You're gonna regret that." He goes, "Maybe."
Mm-hmm.
You know.
It was funny because at first I really hated the stutter.
You know, I was like, what the frick is going on? But it's really grown on me. I also like that his first line, he's like, "Sorry, I couldn't help but overhear what you were saying really loudly."
Well, I was trying to sleep.
I can't.
Yeah.
I can only do it sometimes.
I can't remember a specific line that he stutters in, but it is really funny now to me.
Yeah.
So that's number 20.
Yeah.
We got to keep going. Number 21, Greedo. I've been doing it so long.
Was that an impression of our stepdad?
Oh, dang. But
That's exactly what he sounds
one of the funnier and newer things is before George sold to Disney, he had made one more change to A New Hope for whatever reason, I guess to help with the Han shot first dilemma. Mm-hmm. And so whenever Han says over my dead body, and he says that's the idea, and I've been waiting for this day a long time, and Han says I'm sure you have. For whatever reason, George was like, let's add another line in there for Greedo, and so Greedo goes McClunky, and then gets fried. So there's not really a good impression. Yeah, exactly.
That's the idea.
But it is very iconic. Okay, number 22, one of the greatest Imperials of all time, Grand Moff Wilhuff Tarkin.
You know, Palpatine and Vader aside, I think he's the greatest Imperial.
Really?
Name another. I mean, I guess Thrawn, but Thrawn's not Imperial, you know what I mean?
Thrawn is greater than Tarkin, but Tarkin is the greater Imperial.
Right.
Mm-hmm. I think that Tarkin might be a greater Imperial than Vader when it comes to his commitment to the Empire.
Word up.
So, yeah, you have Tarkin and...
Let's have it.
What should I say?
Whatever you want.
I like the way that he rolls his R's. So when he says, the rebellion, I like that a lot. Your pathetic rebellion, princess. It's very cool. We have chosen your home planet of Alderaan. It's Ratatouille. But yeah, he is very clipped. When authors write, if you're reading a book or if you're listening to a book, they always talk about these clipped imperial tones.
Yeah.
And I really feel like Tarkin is like the blueprint for that, which is funny because he's actually from the Outer Rim. But he has an amazing, amazing voice. And obviously, Sir Peter Cushing was an amazing actor. And he was a knight.
A legend.
So how about that? He also played Dracula and Sherlock Holmes.
Whoa, there you go.
There you have it. The next one, Maul. What do you want to call him? Darth Maul? Sir Maul? Mr. Maul? Whatever?
Maul. More?
Yeah.
They have another William quote.
Watching Star Wars Rebels with Samuel. And Darth Maul comes on screen. And we're both like, jaws on the floor. And he says, you may call me, which is Sam Witwer at the time, Maul. And we're just in awe of the beauty on screen. And my dad, super loud, by the way, goes, more? And we just had to pause the TV and die laughing for like 45 seconds and be like, no, Maul. You get it? Because he looks like Darth Maul? So.
You may call me in the morning.
More? So,
how do you like your eggs?
Monday. So, yeah, Darth Maul, one of the greatest voices. And it's ironic because in The Phantom Menace, you barely hear it. And he's, at last we will be our ancestral Jedi.
Yeah.
At last we will have our revenge. But Sam Witwer really
Not
brings...
a single word during the fight scenes, by the way.
Yeah, just a lot of teeth.
Which makes him one of the most unique villains because there's not a single monologue.
Mm-hmm. That's very true.
Down to business.
But
I think that's why in the novels they
give it a little bit more.
Well, that and they just air him on the side of wanting to kill so bad. You know what I mean? He just really wanted to prove himself against the master.
Yeah. Maul is probably the most developed Star Wars character ever when it comes to his evolution from where he started to where he finished. I guess obviously Anakin / Vader is the character that the story is based on, but
it's quite the claim.
But he's up there. Maybe not number one.
I'd say he's up there. I'd say Obi-Wan is up there, especially now after we're getting the Obi-Wan series. I think he might be in the running.
Well, yeah. But I'm saying...
I know what you're saying.
I haven't seen Obi-Wan do anything that I was like, oh my god, I can't believe he did that. Good or bad.
I think the main point of that was kind of revealing was his relationship with Satine, where she was dying and he said, I would have left the old for you.
Yeah, that was very revealing and sweet. But Maul going from a cool-looking henchman who dies in the first movie he's in to, like we talked about last week, George saw enough potential in him to bring him back and make him the main bad of a sequel trilogy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. I like that George liked him enough to recycle him. Like,
Yeah, because he was the one that brought him back in Clone Wars as
Yeah.
well. So Maul, one of the coolest things that he says, I'm not going to do the Kenobi impression from Twin Sons, even though that's one of the coolest lines that he does. And if you are a fan of Sam Witwer, look that up, because that's really cool to watch him act that out. When he's like, I'm lost. But one of the coolest is his monologue to Ahsoka. When she's like, there's still time. And he's like, time for what? The Jedi? The time for the Jedi is over. And he's just like, when he lays out basically, here's where we are, bro.
Yeah.
And the truth is, he was 100% right.
Yeah, like, besides Palpatine, maybe, he's got his head on his shoulders more squarely than anybody else in the galaxy at this point.
Yeah, think about that. At some point, part of it is the inside
At some
scoop.
point, Maul was the most sane person in the galaxy.
Yeah.
Freaking think about that.
You got Mace Windu, I think, is dying at that point. Like, that scene is happening.
Freaking Alex Jones, man.
Yeah, called it. But yeah, so Yoda, Obi-Wan, all those guys who are like the wise ones, and here's Maul just spitting out straight facts. So Maul's an amazing character. Number 24, I'll go ahead and do this one.
Hold on, I got you.
Oh, okay.
Excuse me.
Jar Jar Binks. Love him or hate him, he has a very, very iconic voice.
Yeah, very.
And you know what? That's probably the thing about the character that people dislike the most. But as a young kid, it's probably what made him so silly to me and sold the toys.
Yeah,
So
well,
George
and
Lucas doing.
the actor did, I forget his name.
Ahmed Best.
Ahmed Best did a great job with encapsulating the identity of that character in the way he moved and his body language. And
It's interesting because so many people want to hate on the acting of Hayden Christensen or hate on the character or the way that Jar Jar is portrayed, but they're the same people who are crying about Disney should just give George the reins over the next trilogy. Listen, buddy. If you listen to George Lucas talk about Hayden Christensen...
Big Daddy directed 4 Star Wars pictures.
Yeah. George
take another
says
oil bath.
how impressed he was, and he says that Hayden absolutely captured Anakin Skywalker. He's the one that says Jar Jar is the key to all this when he's talking about Episode 1. So I'm along for that ride. That's fine if you want to give George Lucas the next trilogy. But don't be a fan of George and then hate on the next movie he directs. Not that he will, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can't have both sides of the coin.
Anyway, back to voices. We got another one coming in hot. This is maybe...
Oh, we didn't do an impression of Jar Jar, though.
That's fine.
Come on, go ahead.
I've got nothing for you. Go ahead. Squeeze it in. Squeeze it in.
Let's see. One of my favorite is when he's like, "Oh, oh, oh, oh," when he's doing the flip.
There you go.
There you go. The next one.
This is maybe the most iconic R2 noise.
Yeah. R2-D2 is number 26. We're just under halfway there. R2-D2 is amazing.
He's also got this a wide range of personality, though. So, for instance, when he's navigating his way through the swamp in Dagobah, he just...
An actual whistle makes its way out. That's really cute. Yeah, R2, the sound engineers for Lucas did an amazing job of you know exactly what he's thinking.
Absolutely. And it's incredible that they were able to communicate thoughts with no words. You know what I mean? They do it with so many characters throughout, but I think R2 is especially...
R2 and Chewie,
impressive.
man. You know exactly where they're at.
There's really no vocalizing going on, you know what I mean? It's because Chewie, you can put emotion into it.
Yeah, and he has hands.
Right.
To be like, oh, you know? Yeah. But R2 is just a freaking soda can.
Yep. That's very impressive to me. Yeah.
You know? Who would have thought about that? Okay, number 26, his counterpart, C-3PO.
Who has grown on me in my older age. I used to think he was super obnoxious. But just like I was saying, I thought it was so funny the way that Han dealt with him in Jedi, you know, when negotiating with the Ewoks. It's also super funny the way that 3PO is looking back and forth between the Ewok and Han. He goes, you know, just like confused, trying to figure out what to do.
I do love, I can't remember, is it, when is it when somebody yells at C-3PO and he goes, goodness gracious me?
Oh, that would have been in Empire.
Somebody yells at him. I can't remember.
He says hi to one of the droids, and I think the droid goes, Ijuta.
Yeah, but he says, how rude, when that happens. but I think it might be an Ewok. He's like, oh no, it's Return of the Jedi. It's someone's talking to him. And it's like, oh, and he's like, goodness gracious me. It's the eyeball that comes out of the front door at Jabba. He's like, and he's like, goodness gracious me. That's one of my favorites. I love that Anthony Daniels sounds exactly like C-3PO.
It's funny to see such a, to use, for lack of a better word, such a polished individual.
Yeah.
You know, I guess it's pun intended. In such a grimy galaxy, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
speaking of polished in a grimy galaxy, remember when he was sexualized in that one Clone Wars episode from the original Clone Wars where he was like, got the new metal on, it's like, wow, 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 the sexy saxophone, like, and he takes the cloak off and he's like glistening. That was silly. I did like, in The Rise of Skywalker, he says something to the fact of, you didn't ask me, but I'm all right. That was one of my
You didn't
favorites.
say my name, sir. Oh, that was terrible. But yeah, he's like, you didn't say my name, but I'm all right.
Yeah.
Goodness gracious me.
I
get back centered.
When he keeps yelling, in Empire, 501. I love that. Okay.
All right, number 27.
Number 27. I'm looking forward to this. I love that meme that's been going around when it's like, when you watch the Clone Wars and Rebels, everybody said you were a geek, but now you don't understand what's going on in the Mandalorian.
The signature look of superiority.
Signature look of superiority. Count Dooku, the Count of Sereno. I love Sir Christopher Lee's voice, but the voice from the Clone Wars is almost better, in a way. Obviously, Sir Christopher Lee's is the best because it is him.
Yeah.
But just, they're extra in the Clone War. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this, they... Hello. That's really funny. Okay. You want to do a Dooku?
I did.
Been looking forward to this. Price to pride, double to fall.
Double to fall. Okay. Number 28, the B-1 battle droid.
Yeah, I think the B-1 battle droid is an interesting subject when talking about voices, because as we said, or we were talking about it earlier, and I had mentioned how in Phantom Menace, the vocalizers for the B-1s are not uniform. They have different voices throughout.
And I guess I had heard that before, obviously, seen the movie, but I didn't think about it. And as we went back and watched a couple of little snippets, and it seems like the regular battle droids have kind of a higher pitch, and the higher up battle droids, you know, the commanders or whatever, seem to have kind of a more bossy tone to them, which is interesting.
Yeah.
So you're just like, you know, Roger for the regular one, and it's like, you know.
Yeah, well, there was one, he's like, Corporal, check it out.
Yeah.
He's like, Roger.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? It's just like, there's a very vast difference. And then...
it seems like the regular B-1, the peon, sounds more like a Lego battle droid.
Yeah.
Whoa!
Yeah, and then, you know, they're...
The higher up are like, all right, let's do it.
And then by the time you get to the Clone Wars, they're obviously, like, hyperbolized almost.
They all seem the same. Do you like how silly they are in the Clone Wars?
I don't mind it, because it's kind of a take on the B-1 in Revenge of the Sith. Like, you're welcome, you know?
Yeah.
They just kind of like a sassy attitude. I think all the B battle droids, like B-2s, also were like, stupid astromech.
Yeah.
Stupid little astro droid.
Yeah. Number 29, you have Newt Gunray. I do love Newt Gunray. Victory.
Or,
Is that legal?
is it?
This is getting out of hand.
Somebody shoot or something.
Or something. Now there are two of them.
Yeah, very iconic voice, very iconic lines, especially as we get into Attack of the Clones.
The Lord Sidious promised us peace.
Or Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah. Whenever I remember being in the movies with Dad when we saw it, and Dad was like, "Kill that guy." He was like so sick of him, I guess. But I'd love a good Nymoidian. Number 30, Wat Tambor. And I care more for the sounds of him changing his
Trying
voice.
to figure out how to talk than... I don't even really honestly remember what his actual voice sounds like. I just remember...
I think it's something like...
Figuring out the wrong trousers on his chest.
Yeah, exactly. I love... I think he says something like... the Techno Union, like something like that.
Yeah.
But really, the cool one is like... Why would you
Cheese.
Why would you have
Cheese.
more than one option for how you're... What's the point? I guess to...
I do love a good gorgonzola.
Gorgonzola. You're kind of going there into the rabbit.
Hutch.
Yeah.
That's where I was going for it.
So Wat Tambor is very cool, if not only for his chesticle changing thing. Okay? Number 31.
Out there diddling in the chest.
All right. Number 31. One of the coolest voices in Star Wars. I'm still waiting for some kind of a redemption. You might have seen, I mean, if you haven't seen The Mandalorian, plug your ears for 15 seconds, but you might have seen a young version of this gentleman.
Or, an experimental.
An experimental version. Supreme Leader
prototype,
Snoke.
if you will.
Yes. Snoke, played by the uber-talented Andy Serkis, has an amazing voice. But I remember straight up fainting when that trailer came out for The Last Jedi, when you see the huge gorilla walkers at the beginning.
And because Andy Serkis was, aside from the original, characters that they were bringing back from the original trilogy, Andy Serkis was probably the most iconic actor going into that, and because he naturally attracted so much attention, they were so secretive of what he was doing.
Right.
I remember there's so much speculation and photos were leaked of him in the mocap suit, and we were trying to figure out who he was playing, what he was doing.
Yeah.
Everybody thought it was Darth Jar Jar,
Oh my God, yeah. When he says, "When I found you, I saw raw, unadulterated power."
Raw.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of an iconic... What's the most iconic Snoke line, you think?
Take that ridiculous thing off.
Yeah. Dude, man, I feel so bad for Kylo when he's just punking him. And make no mistake, if Kylo had to face Snoke one-on-one straight up...
Kylo looked like Wolf does when I take a toy he's about to throw at Cash.
Yeah. His feelings were hurt.
Yeah.
Whenever he says... "Bring her to me," at the end of Force Awakens, I was like, well, that's the end of Rey. I talked about this recently, but I thought it was so silly whenever the Force Awakens came out, and people were like, how are they going to defeat that 70-foot guy? Yeah, that was so funny, dude. Snoke was the most fun speculating ever, but alas, it was not to be. He would have been cool as Plagueis, but whatever.
All right, moving right along.
Snoke is there, and then number 32.
Hello, what have we here?
The smoothest voice in all the galaxy, like Promised Land chocolate milk. It's Lando Calrissian.
I'm sad OK didn't make it now that I thought about it. That was probably one of my favorite takeaways from Rise of Skywalker.
Oh, yeah. That was a good one.
Okay.
But yeah, Lando Calrissian, whether it's Billy D. Williams or Donald Glover, both of them are fantastic.
Donald Glover did an excellent job.
Excellent job. And can I please get the Lando Calrissian Chronicles? Anytime soon will do. I do love Lando Calrissian, and...
I got a pretty good Lando.
Okay, go ahead.
All right.
Hey, kid.
I'll do my...
Okay, go ahead.
Power convert. No, just... Whatever, I don't know. All right, I got my two most iconic ones, which we already did.
Okay.
Hello, what have we here?
Yeah, pretty good.
And
Okay.
we got the, that thing's operational.
Yeah, his voice does change a little bit to Jedi.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little smoother and sexier in Empire.
Yeah, but then he's piloting the Falcon and he sees that thing's operational.
One of
That
my-
blast came from the Death Star.
One of my favorites
Stand a
is...
better chance to win against that Death Star.
Would you get going, you pirate? That's one of my favorites when he's talking Han. Okay, this one's fun. Number 33. If you're not a fan of Star Wars Rebels, you won't know this one, but it's very, very iconic. The Bendu.
Yep. Basically, Star Wars Aslan.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about the Bendu for those who haven't seen.
Honestly, I don't really know much about the Bendu.
Tell us what you know.
We don't know much about the Bendu, but they're I guess would be the Resistance?
The Rebellion?
Rebellion? Yeah, it's before 4. So the Rebellion, I keep forgetting what to call them before they're actually formed, but...
the Ghost Crew?
Yeah, the Ghost Crew is hanging out on a planet, and they're about to be trapped by Thrawn and his, I guess a fleet is what we would call it.
Yep.
And the fleet is thwarted by the invasion of a certain lion turtle in the sky.
Yeah.
You know, he looks reminiscent of a lion turtle from Avatar: The Last Airbender. And he just seems to be a being solely of the Force. Maybe the most Force-aware being that we have aside from the Ones. You know, that we talked about in our episode of the Ones discussing the Mortis arc.
Right. He's interesting because he's
basically the Treebeard of Star Wars.
Yeah, but much more powerful, I would say. But he's not bound.
Did you not see what Treebeard did to Isengard?
It was pretty raw. He's not bound to Chopper Base, which I don't remember the name of the actual planet. Attilan, I believe, is the name of the planet. Because I remember Thrawn going, Attilan. But anyways, he's this huge, animal or creature or whatever. I guess he's not an animal because he's sentient, but he's about the size of a 2-story house. He's a huge animal. And he kind of looks
to blaster fire.
Yeah, he kind of looks like a lion and a moose, kind of going on. And he does have kind of I don't think he has like a shell, but he's just very slow, and he's been around for forever. And he has amazing knowledge of the Force. He's the one that talks about if you take a light side holocron and a dark side holocron, and if you put them together and you have someone open both of them, you need a light side user for that one and dark side, blah, blah, blah. Then if you ask it a question, it has to grant you the answer that you're seeking.
Basically Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
Your wish has been granted.
But the Bendu basically says the light and the dark, and he says, I'm the one in the middle. Mm-hmm. Which basically he's a Force being of sorts, and it's very cool because the Empire's trying to attack him, and they're trying to attack the rebels, and he kind of stands in the way, and Thrawn says, what Jedi devilry is this? So it was cool that Thrawn recognized right away that it wasn't a natural thing. So that was really neat, and the Bendu says, the light, the dark, I'm the one in the middle. That's my impression of the Bendu. Very cool character.
All right.
This one is all you, bro.
This is all me. I thought I had a sound bit for it, but it turns out I don't. I was almost positive I had one, but my impression's just as good.
It is good.
So
imagine you're on Tatooine.
Yeah. The Boon to Eve classic. Hot in Pursuit. And just before an imminent crash is about to occur, we hear out of the mouth of the rumor weed,
Rawr! You do. Rawr! Mars Guo.
Probably the most quoted line of no words that I've ever done.
Yeah. Anytime anything goes sour, if we're
somebody's about to hit me in traffic.
Yeah, we'll play like we play disc golf pretty regularly, and we'll throw a bad throw, and either one of us, rawr! That just means this is not going the way that I hoped it would go. Before we explode into a ball of flames. Mars Guo, one of the pod racers from episode 1. Number 35, Mother Talzin.
I don't really have a good Talzin.
Me neither, but she's a pretty iconic voice. She is the leader of the Night Sisters. She's a witch, very, very powerful Force user.
The most influential user of the magics that we see in
Other than,
She makes an appearance in Rebels as well, right?
No, she's dead by then.
What the freak am I thinking of?
She might have a vision of her.
Maybe.
But she's very witchy, very, I don't know, Transylvania, find your brother. Very witchy. I can't think of anything specifically she says. But the crazy thing is that she was actually so powerful that she was going to be Palpatine's apprentice. And when he went to meet with her, that's when he discovered Maul, and he actually stole Maul out from under her son. So Darth Maul's mother Talzin. And the reason I think
probably your mother-in-law.
I knew that Palpatine thought that Talzin was probably stronger at the time, but Maul was more malleable.
Yeah.
And he didn't want...
And that's important.
Yeah, he didn't want somebody to be rigid and stuck in their ways, because as powerful as Mother Talzin is with Sith alchemy or witchcraft, Palpatine can do both. And he needed somebody to train that could, the rule of the Sith is to try to strengthen the Sith. And so Mother Talzin is very, very strong, very powerful, and...
one of the more influential...
players.
Non-main line. You know what I mean? She's pulling the strings for Savage Opress. She's pulling the strings for Ventress. She's got that whole 1v1 thing with Dooku where she's doing the voodoo and he sends Grievous.
Yeah.
She basically...
She could beat Grievous in a fight one-on-one.
I think she essentially sends Maul down the path that he ends up on. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And she knows that Maul has survived all this time, and Talzin is actually the one that tells Savage Opress to go find his brother, and that's how Maul is brought back into the canon through Clone Wars.
By the way, speaking of Savage Opress, number 36.
Savage Opress. Give us a little backstory on the voice actor for Savage Opress.
Plain and simple, Mr. Krabs.
Yep.
He's everywhere in Star Wars.
He really is.
The governor of Lothal, right?
Ryder Izadi is the name of the character.
Okay.
That's the governor of the
Savage Opress, he's that...
Deveronian?
Yeah, Deveronian from Mando. Was it episode 5?
Mm-hmm. 6.
6. I don't know why I was thinking it's 5.
5 is Tatooine.
Yeah. What else? He's one more, right?
Yeah, I don't remember.
But anyway, still, for one person.
Is he the voice of... He's not the voice of the four-armed Jedi that kills all the clones, is he?
Pong Krell?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
But yeah, Savage Opress...
Is that you, brother?
Has a very cool voice.
Yeah. I mean, he's just got
his voice
such a
is so
usable
cool
voice, but...
that he kills people with his head.
Yeah.
Is that you, brother? Brother?
Very cool. Yeah, and then...
Is that you, Santa Claus? Is that you, Santa Claus?
Which brings me to...
leaving a present for me?
All right, number 37 is your favorite Geonosian, Poggle the Lesser. I'm going to let you do this one. All right, I'll do one as well.
Not good enough for you?
He's the guy that is in charge of all the Geonosians who are trying to get the head start on building the Death Star. And he has a really iconic... insectoid clicking. But he says this thing that always sticks with me when I'm watching Attack of the Clones. So the Geonosians, if you don't know who those guys are the bugs, basically at the end of episode 2, and they are gross.
If you're a fan of Ender's Game, basically buggers, I'm pretty sure they stole a lot of lore from Ender's Game. Those novels were written in the 80s and 90s, and they have a whole story arc about how the Geonosians are hive mind, and they have a hive queen that's straight out of the novels.
Buggers. All right. Here's a really great one.
My much more favorite Basilisk.
Yep.
Because Pong Krell is a wiener.
He's a turd burglar.
We got Dexter Jetster, which, first of all, what a fun name to say.
Dexter Jetster.
Dexter Jetster.
Obi-Wan! You're looking at a Kaminoan saber dart.
How big your pocketbook is.
Depends on how good your manners are. How big your pocketbook is.
Yeah, he owns a diner, and he's actually, sad story, he is
My dad, perfectly packaged.
Dexter Jetster actually died via the hand of the Empire because he was basically a monitor for
R.I.P.
Being friends with the Jedi. So Dexter Jetster is very cool. He somehow is super in the know as well. Knows more about the universe
Yeah,
than
most
the
knowledgeable
Jedi
diner
archives.
owner in the history of the galaxy.
Yeah, comes out, butt crack showing.
Obi-Wan! Hey, old buddy.
1 arm for cooking, 3 for pulling up his pants.
Yep. Dexter Jetster, number 39, Ventress.
Passage ventral.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Kenobi.
That was pretty good. Yeah, Ventress, the
don't know.
bald-headed chick from the
We're all
Clone Wars.
talking about Kenobi.
And actually, in the book Dark Disciple, you find out that she grows her hair out and it's platinum blonde. Why weren't you doing it a little earlier, Saj? It was a good look for you. Yeah, I've seen some...
Good enough to steal the heart of the most elusive Jedi in the Order.
Yeah, Quinlan Vos.
Quinlan Vos.
Yeah, so Ventress has a very, very cool voice. It's very condescending. Not quite as boss, but I've been doing a lot of yelling tonight, so my voice is kind of raspy.
Number 40.
Number 40 is one of the coolest voices from the sequel trilogy, and he gives the best speech of the sequel trilogy, including anything that the Resistance does. And it is General Armitage Hux. And he is, dude, I was fired up.
An excellent orator.
Yeah, when he was like, all remaining systems will bow to the First Order.
Yeah.
And will remember this as the last day of the Republic. It was freaking sick.
Yeah. And
Sorry, I couldn't really actually yell it because I would destroy your ears.
Just obliterated the galaxy right after.
Yeah. Hux is the... Other than
The
Snoke.
literal redheaded stepchild.
Yeah. Snoke is the saddest story of the sequels as far as how cool he was and how it was undone a little bit. But
Hux, if he were a little bit more competent, would be like the
new Tarkin.
Yeah, the Tarkin of.
But I would say
First Order.
it's not Hux's fault. It's the writing's fault.
Yeah,
because
and the fact that
you
General
start off-
Pride is definitely like the Tarkin of the First Order.
Yeah, but Pride became about because they had to do a bunch of stuff to try to get back on
You know
the
what I'm
fans'
saying,
good side.
though?
Yeah,
You
for
know.
sure, for sure. General Pride, very, very cool. But you kind of ruined the character of Hux as soon as you start off The Last Jedi with making mom jokes about Hux.
Yeah.
Like, if you did that crap to Tarkin, not flying, bro.
Rebellion.
He would have you flayed. So, yeah, I did not care for that. That's one of the reasons...
By the way, the actor for Hux is the son of Brendan Gleeson, the actor for Mad Eye Moody.
That is crazy.
When they're in the Harry Potter movies together, it's a father-son act. Pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like The Last Jedi, but that's one of the things that I don't like about it is the terrible use of Hux.
Yeah. All right, number 41. Josiah fought for this one, so I'll let him introduce it.
I didn't necessarily fight for it, but it's a very iconic voice, I guess you could say. BB-8. Very cool. BB-8 was the droid that really captured a lot of hearts leading up to The Force Awakens, and so he deserves to be on the list.
Yep.
Number 42.
K2, the only droid to compete for my heart's affections towards droids, which were exclusively dedicated to R2 up until that point. But K2SO stole the show for me in Rogue One.
Yeah, the slapstick style delivery.
From the great straight-faced delivery, the brilliant one-line zingers, all the way to the heroic death.
Not to mention, along the journey, you have the beautiful "I'm not carrying your crap" moment where he drops all their bags when they're on Jeddah. I love that. I love when he's like, "Why does she get a gun and I don't?" And he's like, "What did you get the gun?" Cassie did not make the list, but he has a cool voice. Number 43.
One of the
We're
coolest. Saying this about like a billion voices, but
this is one of the coolest. Really.
But I mean it this time.
the 43rd time I've said it. Republic credits.
No, they won't.
Jedi mind tricks that don't work on me. Only money. And it is you. What are you? Somebody looked like some kind of Jedi. Yeah, Lucasfilm is for sure hiring us after this. Watto, super cool, one of a kind. I don't think I've ever seen a character like his again that I can remember. So he's very, very cool. Watto is Anakin's owner from the Phantom Menace. And what?
Nothing, keep going.
I love how him and Qui-Gon have this silent rivalry that obviously Qui-Gon wins. Number 44, the pod racer announcer, in parentheses S, because there's two heads, one body. So they're known as Fode and Bede because they have two different personalities, but the heads go down to the one torso, so it counts as one. And my favorite line is, "That's gotta hurt." Good job, you had it ready. That's gotta hurt.
Yeah, voiced by Greg Proops, common appearance maker on Whose Line Is It Anyway? The original run.
And also,
pretty silly guy.
Yeah, very, very funny. And I did love
I like
whenever
the way he does the character.
when they intro Jabba, they're like, "Jabba the Hutt," "Wah," and they're shaking their hands. That was cool. Number 43, this is more of a species thing, but Ewoks.
Yep.
Yeah,
Just I was like, man, these guys make some banging music, and I was like, yeah, anybody who John Williams makes music on their behalf makes some good music.
Right, it's like,
John,
oh, wow.
John Williams can do no wrong.
Yeah, but whenever it's like, yep, no, Yeah. And then they had that freaking huge celebration at the end where you're panning through the different, you know.
And they're resourceful. They recycled all the stormtrooper helmets for steel drums.
Yeah, and they sound fantastic. Doom, 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 doom.
Perfectly tuned. I don't know how they did that.
They're freaking geniuses. They've lived on Endor, so
Musical
there you go.
geniuses.
Ewoks. Number 46, Samuel. Package, my dear. Admiral Akbar, the Mon Calamari. I do love Akbar, and fantastic leader. Deserved more.
He did deserve more. They did him wrong.
They did him wrong. And, man, even people who don't know Star Wars know it's a trap. So, do love him. And I do love Radis, but Akbar is the superior Mon Cal.
For sure. All right, number 47, we got Sebulba.
Yes. He doesn't say much, but...
I don't have a good Sebulba in my back pocket. You got something for us?
Okay. When he crashes and it just...
Oh, yeah, that's an easy.
Podo!
Yeah.
That was a good one.
That's a good one.
He also has a good... when he breaks off
He's a good little B-roll villain. You know what I mean?
He's
He's
a little side villain.
Yeah, Sebulba's just living for Sebulba.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect attendant of the wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Yeah, I would totally watch a Disney Plus Sebulba show. 2 episodes probably, but I'll watch it. Okay, number 48.
Yeah, I kind of wanted these guys included. I think that just the Kaminoans have a cool way of talking.
Taunwi and I can't remember the Prime Minister's name. What?
That's his name.
Taunwi is...
Taunwi's here.
Yeah, Taunwi is the one that says...
I forget the Prime Minister's name.
I can't remember either. Do your best, Taunwi.
I could actually do a better Prime Minister.
Yeah, but we don't know his name.
Yep, but I know his rank.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm trying to remember what he says to Obi-Wan. We've been waiting for you, Master Jedi.
Lama Su.
Lama Su.
Lama Su, Prime Minister of Camino. One of the coolest lines that Lama Su delivers is, magnificent, aren't they?
Magnificent, aren't they?
Yeah, Kaminoans are turds, bro. They knew all about Order 66. They knew about the inhibitor chips.
They could not care less. Dude,
And-
some of the best con men in the galaxy. Let's be real.
Oh, for real. Yeah, fooled everybody. Selfish little douchebags.
And rich beyond imagining.
Rich. Also, though,
I bet they would give the Munes like a run for their money there towards the end of the war.
Ooh, you think so? Oh, well, that's true. Towards the end of the war when they're just shelling out clones.
Dude, they basically own the Republic at that point.
Well, also, you
The
gotta
Republic is borrowing money from the banking clan just to give it to the Kaminoans.
But the banking clan was with the Separatists.
Yeah, but so were the Kaminoans. Secretly.
But the banking clan was on the surface with...
Well, the banking clan was like neutral ground.
Oh, I see.
The banking clan will
sign
sign
your
your
treaty.
But they still, had seats in the Senate.
I see what you're saying. That's true. Yeah, the Kaminoans, one of the cool things from that Legacy of the Force series that I need to let you borrow is there's a character that obviously Mandalorians, because Boba's the Mandalorian at this point, and clones are considered Mandalorians if they ever get out of the army, were pissed off at the Kaminoans. And there's one character that's actually kind of a carryover from the Republic Commando series, because Karen Travis wrote that, and she wrote
That
a
is
third
why
of...
I'm here.
She wrote a third of the... I think you have.
No, it's my Obi-Wan
Oh.
visible confusion.
Oh.
That
But
is why I'm here.
the funny thing is that there's a character that I guess had caught a Kaminoan and had made gloves
Oh, that's pretty G.
out of the Kaminoan's hide.
I bet those would be comfy.
They said that they were gleaming white. Okay. So, number 49, this is all you.
Oh, yeah.
So I guess Leia made the list
Yeah,
technically.
I thought about it after I said it.
But in her Boosh outfit, which is the bounty hunter that she impersonates trying to get Han out of Jabba's
let's
palace.
just say she's very bougie. Eat up. You have hibernation sickness.
You gotta get a little closer to the mic for that one.
You have hibernation sickness. Your type will return in time. Someone who loves you.
What if he's like, who are you? And he's like,
Someone who loves you. I'm a lizard.
you
got a problem, Boba? You got a problem with me?
It was funny because Han was like, oh, like he was not having it. Han plays Harrison Ford plays a very convincing carbonite victim when he's like,
just make my face wet and I'll get the shakes. All right, moving on.
You have hibernation sickness.
I tried to stop it.
Steven had a sense of humor. All right.
Oh,
Boosh
he's getting specific.
was number 49. We're right up there. Number 50, Qui-Gon Jinn. Which, that's me, Obi-Wan, introducing you as Qui-Gon.
Give me something to say. I had a good line when I was listening.
What if you scream Anakin
Master
no?
Apprentice. No, I can't do that one.
Say, you're friends with Sifo Dyas. Or say Master Sifo Dyas. Or Master, you said Master Sabaoth, but you meant Master, what was Dooku's first apprentice's name? The one that can't get laid.
Real Avaros, but I said Master Sabaoth on purpose.
Oh. So go ahead.
You gotta be aware of the cosmic force. Obi-Wan. That's more like Mark Thompson or Jonathan Davis's Qui-Gon. Be mindful of your feelings.
Yeah. I love that he says, Obi-Wan in episode 1 says, I should be mindful of the future. He says, not at the expense of the moment.
Not at the expense of the moment.
Pretty good. Say, if you return my daughter to me,
I want to know where this is going before I'm trapped.
I will find you and I will kill you. That was the long game.
Oh, yeah.
I will find you and I will kill you. Yeah, so Qui-Gon Jinn has an amazing voice, and it's iconic because he's the first person we really hear talking about the cosmic force. He's the first person that really talks about Anakin's potential, and he's the first Force ghost voice that anyone in the galaxy has ever heard. So when he says, Master Yoda, can you hear me? And that's also Liam Neeson comes back to voice himself for the Clone Wars.
Very cool.
And Yoda's like, hear you I can, see you I cannot. And Qui-Gon says, my training is not complete. Very cool. Qui-Gon Jinn. The greatest. All right. This one is kind of up your alley. Number 51, Q90, also simply known as Zero, a bounty hunter droid from The Mandalorian.
Yeah, we call
episode
him,
6.
If you watch the IT crowd, we just call him Moss.
Yep. Little backstory.
Give me something to say. Give me something. Hit me with something. Anything.
Okay. His voice is also used in chapter 10.
Yeah.
Which is episode 2 of this season of The Mandalorian, because the Frog Lady speaks, and she needs to talk to the Mandalorian. So she says, wake up, Mandalorian, I can't wait any longer.
Wake up, Mandalorian.
Wake up, Mandalorian.
This is not Zero. What story do you want me to tell him?
This is not a drill. So Moss from the IT crowd is this cool-looking black guy with like he's got a fro, but
it's like
it's got a side
brushed
part
over. Freaking sick.
It's kind of like a grown-out, not as sexy-looking Lando from Solo haircut. And
I don't know where they came up with it, but I think it's pretty cool.
It's cool. It's kind of I think James Brown had that too, didn't he?
Maybe.
When he was singing. But yeah, Q90 is very, very, very cool looking. Almost like a mixture of.
I'm going to fly the Razor Crest.
Yeah, he's kind of looks like Forlom a little bit. I can't remember what the head looks like though. Is it the same as? It's not the same as Forlom. It's like
very insectoid though. He's got the fly eyes.
Yeah. So very cool. It's interesting because he has the cool droid overtones.
Yeah,
but you definitely still hear Moss in there.
Yeah. Wake up, Mandalorian.
Wake up, Mandalorian.
Mandalorian.
Okay, staying with droids, you have IG-11, which is the IG droid that has turned into a nurse.
Bless him.
Yeah. IG-11. I can't really remember what he sounds like. He sounds a lot like Q90. But I do like that he says when the scouts are being mean to Baby Yoda in episode 8 of Mandalorian, and he's like, you will return the child to me. And it's like shooting at him. Yeah. And he's like, freaking, of course, all his joints are like 360 joints. So he's like, grabs his wrist and just does the whole crocodile death roll.
I thought it was funny that his slogan was to nurse and protect.
Yeah. And then he basically is like,
freaking hilarious, dude.
When he shoots that guy, and he looks at the child, he goes, "I'm sorry you had to see that." That was one of my favorites. All right, I want to do this one.
Yeah, that's all you.
Number 53, Los Pollos Hermanos, Moff Gideon. First, Giancarlo Esposito just has an amazing presence with his voice.
Dude, when we're watching the round table, when he starts to talk,
yeah,
the whole room just gets quiet.
Yeah.
He's just got such a commanding presence.
Him and Carl Weathers both have very powerful voices, but I think Giancarlo probably more than Carl Weathers.
It's just he's just got this energy, man.
Yeah, and so he's talking about Moff Gideon's character at the end of this most recent chapter of The Mandalorian, they're talking about a tracking beacon being placed on the Razor Crest, and he says, "And we will be ready." It's just so refined sounding. And so there's this cool part where he's talking about the volume, which is the stage that they shoot the Mandalorian on for the most part. And it's this giant 75-foot circumference LED wall. And he basically is saying, "I can step out of my TIE fighter and wow, I'm there. I've got my lightsaber." And it's just, when he's talking, I was like, it was just so cool. He has an amazing voice.
Yeah.
And his presence is so confident and so powerful.
Yeah. All right, we're running along, so let's slam out these last two.
All right. Number 2, General Veers. I'll give you one
By
line.
number 2, he meant number 54.
What'd I say?
Number 2.
I'm sorry. I meant 2 to go. So number 54, counting down 3, 2, 1. General Veers, my favorite line from him in the actual movie is, "Lord Vader, the shield will be out in moments. You may start your landing."
You may start your landing.
I had the cool AT-AT from the 90s that Dad got me for Christmas, and you could press the button that says, "Lord Vader, the shield will be done in moments. You may start your landing." I always thought it was crazy cool that someone told Lord Vader he may start his landing. I was like, Vader knows what he wants. Vader's get in line. But he has a very cool voice, one of the coolest characters from The Empire Strikes Back. And I'll let you finish this one out.
All right, final one. The only Bostonian in all of the Star Wars galaxy, Mr. Bill Burr as Mayfield.
Yes, Mayfield from Episode 6, The Heist.
What you got under that helmet, Mando?
Yeah.
Can't see your eyes. I can't trust you.
Yeah, he's like...
Wasn't a stormtrooper.
Yeah, I wasn't a stormtrooper. It's basically Bill Burr in space.
It's just Bill Burr in space, man.
But he has the 2 guns with the super cool shoulder mount that just like, I guess, knows where he's going. But yeah, Bill Burr is like, "So we're going to get in here, right? And we're going to bust these dudes out of this jail. You understand? And then we're going to get out of here."
You get what you deserve.
Yeah. So Mayfield.
There you go.
We probably could have found somebody cooler, I guess, but...
I just love it. I love Bill Burr.
Bill Burr's awesome, and
I think it's funny that he's just Bill Burr in Star Wars.
Yeah. Oh, so what's the deal with you, Mando, huh? You just let us use the ship, or you're going to come along with us? I'm assuming you don't trust us. It's like, it's watching Bill Burr in space. So I hope you enjoyed that. That was Star Wars Voices, episode 44 of the Chiss Ascendancy. Again, if you like this video, please subscribe to the channel, like this video, share it, hit the notification bell, and tell your friends about it. And may the Force be with you.
And remember, last impression for the night, the only family you have here is me.
See you next week.